All right, boys and girls, we are live. Hello? Anybody around?
Yay.
Speed is never this quiet. There must be something wrong with him.
He's muted.
You might notice that in that paper that Diemer and Dahmer talked about the water paradox, and they talked about the other problems. They talked about all of the problems. And you might also notice that when the creationists criticize these papers, they never talk about the solutions. They only talk about the problems.
Right.
Is that science?
I don't think so. As I was saying earlier, as in that SFT video I was looking at, it's just, they use a lot of scientific hand waving, but when it boils down to it, their arguments just always seem to be it's too hard, it's too complicated, we don't know, and then they'll just take snippets, revealing problems, or even showing where the scientists themselves writing the paper revealed the problems and saying, see, God did it. But I don't quite understand. Well, at least I haven't seen any models of how God did it, or quote unquote intelligent design fits into any of these models.
Well, the thing is, once you actually propose a mechanism, you don't need the God. Because by Occam's razor, right?
Yeah.
You don't need something like a God that mucks up in terms of like the complexity of your argument. If you have a mechanism that can potentially produce things, then just use the damn mechanism.
Yeah, it just multiplies entities. It doesn't explain mechanisms.
It proposes more questions to the problem than it provides solutions.
Yeah. So anyway, one of these days I would love to see a good illustrated model, maybe a few graphs of where God shows up in evolution and in life.
I just need a play-by-play in conjunction, like with a fingerprint or something. I need very little to get me off and to get me on the ground here. But like even the bare bones are not like sufficing.
Okay, kids, I put the link in chat for anybody who wants to join.
Now come and hop in, everybody. Everybody's welcome.
Well, not necessarily tonight.
Okay. Then
was not allowed. If Otangelo is not allowed, I'll be very happy.
I don't think we need to hear any more Otangelo today. I've listened to a lot of him today. I think I'm done.
I think we're going to hear very much so that he's being persecuted by us atheists.
I know.
They don't like me anymore because I speak the truth to them.
We persecute him.
So
irrefutable proof, and they reject it.
Of course, I would love to, have some honest interlocutor theists hop in and talk to us as well. So,
I mean, that's what I wanted.
Some honest ones. I
thought Sal understood like some organic chemistry, and I'm like, oh fuck yeah, finally one of these people that's like actually going to go into like a critique of abiogenesis and tell me like, okay, here's why this is wrong, or here's why this is infeasible. And then you got somebody like Sal, which just says straight out the bat, oh, well, I took biochemistry, but I didn't take organic chemistry. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go. Well, that's a bad investment.
How come Jerry never comes in?
How come Jerry never comes in? That's a good question.
Jerry, what's the problem? Why don't you hop in onto some of these open things?
Share our pain.
He mean.
So, Immutable, remind me, because you were talking about Sal earlier, what's his PhD in?
I think it's like molecular biology or something. I don't know. Like it's. Well, wait, didn't he get a PhD in like physics and then?
Sal? He's got a PhD in physics.
Yeah. Okay.
No, not a PhD. No, it isn't a PhD. I think he's got a bachelor's or a master's in physics or something. A bachelor's in physics, and he's got something else, some other degree. And then he went ahead and I think he went to one of those Bible colleges or something and put together or somewhere else and got a little bit of biochemistry.
Gotcha.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, Ophelia. So, did you say you just presented a? Okay, he's making a.
Wait, what's going on? I don't know why I had 2 StreamYard apps open or tabs open. I don't know what was going on. What's up?
I was just wondering. You said something about your Eigenstein or
Eigenstate.
Eigenstate. So, did you just like?
Eigenstein. I like that. No, I just got done recording it. I'm uploading it. Well, it's uploading and processing on YouTube now.
Okay.
So
cool.
God forbid that takes God fucking ages.
Well, make sure and get a link in somewhere so Immutable can put it in the description.
Of this video? Well, it won't, because it won't premiere until tomorrow at 7
Never mind.
7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
I'm just trying to get you some exposure on this vast.
I know you guys are trying to copy me like you did today, but yeah, don't lie, you copycats. Hey, everybody can't be original.
All I did was go like an hour and a half on like
I'm fucking with you.
Real numbers and all this other shit.
No, you did. That was an excellent video. I watched it and I was like, this is really, really good. Of course, my videos aren't designed to go like that deep into it. So like you guys doing a thing where it goes like a lot deeper into some of the stuff is all right.
I was trying my hardest like to not get to contour integration because I wanted to. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to explain a contour integral somehow, and this is not gonna be easy. I've already tried to avoid the fact how you can arrive at, a point in the complex plane an infinite number of ways, but complex integration is going to be a new, really big nightmare.
Yeah, we shouldn't hit people with that yet. We really shouldn't.
No, it's bad enough when the mathematical community has its own branch that's like, yeah, this is the branch that avoids complex analysis. Oh, yeah, really? Yikes.
Okay, then. Let me go down this road here. Yeah, that road is real analysis. I mean, you can go. It's not as hard as this road, but I wouldn't go down that road either.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you need real analysis because some of the higher level concepts you run into are just like, I need to interchange the integral and this other operator. I don't know if I can do that quite yet. Real analysis. What do you say? Maybe.
We'll talk about it.
So I posted the links that Demeter provided, and I posted the books in the last paper trails, and I also posted 3 links from Atheism Repellent that apparently exemplify the cell as a factory. So the pushback stuff. So all those are posted in that video,
even though it's not.
I could also say that the sun is a factory for making water because the sun causes like pools of water to evaporate and then, precipitate back and eventually form new ponds.
Wait, so wouldn't the sun be more a factory for making helium?
It is also that too.
It's a multi-purpose factory.
Jerry, I have not tried to get on StreamYard on my iPad. I just use my Chrome. It's not a Chromebook; it's a Pixelbook Go. That's what I use.
I think I found the perfect picture for this video.
Did you? Did you? What the fuck?
I did.
Oh, by the way, did that quantum mechanics video I did ever upload, or is it still processing?
What quantum mechanics video?
Wow, we did earlier today. Jesus hell!
That was live, wasn't it?
What do you mean still process? No, you did it live.
Yeah, but where is it?
Live videos can still process.
They don't show up for like a day on YouTube for some reason. It doesn't show up.
Wait, what? There are times I've had some that take a day to show up, and then the one debate that I did on Discord took like an hour. And that was longer than the first live stream I did, I think. I'm pretty sure it was.
It takes about an hour for them to upload and process a video if you do like a premiere or if you upload it for some reason.
Drace said that it uploaded, so...
Nice. I was watching it, so it is up there. Okay, I found the perfect picture for
I am doing a video tomorrow on Avi Loeb because that guy's lost his fucking mind. He's
Avi Loeb?
Avi Loeb, the Harvard astrophysicist that tried to say Oumuamua was a fucking light sail ship. He's lost his fucking mind. That guy.
Actually, I disagree with that. I think even though it's far out there, he does make good arguments in regards to
I don't.
why
His
it's
arguments are, well, we don't really know what else it is. But the funny thing is that all of the natural explanations we have for it work just like
No, they
Oumuamua
don't.
is not. They do. I assure you, they do. Oumuamua is not this rare object. It's like we've never seen it before. Like this isn't the first time we've seen objects like this. And Ethan Siegel, who again is a PhD theoretical astrophysicist, along with like pretty much the entire astronomy astrophysics community, has presented numerous instances of where we've seen other objects like this, not necessarily in our own solar system, but have seen other objects like this. And I will be touching on the article that Ethan Siegel wrote as it concerns to. I mean, he's written a number, but the one that I'm talking about was more on how. Oh, what was her name? One of a female astrophysicist who inspired. Jesus, give me a second here. I can't remember her name, but he essentially mansplained to her, and I'm going to be going over like how his response, how he just like cut her off and then went on a diatribe about how the whole community's out to get him and they don't like new ideas and all this other bullshit. But oh well, the department you work at said he's getting all this funding and all this other shit was just way out of fucking bounds. Just he was out of pocket. He was out of fucking pocket.
His complaint mainly is that, you know, they're rejecting it based upon the type of claim that he's making, and they're not actually engaging like with the type of thing he's proposing. I'm pretty sure he stated directly, like even he doesn't think that it's a likely explanation to turn up anything. But at the very least, right? Let's see if there are any indications which could affirm the hypothesis, instead of trying to ignore that.
I don't think that's what he's saying. I'm pretty sure he's like pretty much dead set that this was a ship that's using a light sail, and the rest of the science community just hates me for what I'm saying and isn't listening. The problem is that they like his paper on it papers have been read. They just don't stand up to scrutiny. It's not that scientists don't want to explain things utilizing, techno intelligence, that this is technology by an intelligence. It's just that's just not the most likely explanation. The name of the scientist that Jill Tarter, that was her name.
Hey, real quick, immutable.
Yeah, I remember this because I remember he went on Mindscape podcast with Sean Carroll, and he explained this particular issue. And from what I've heard of him, he doesn't seem like he's, trying to pretend like he's the victim. I think he's just trying to see if his hypothesis will be taken, be given any more, merit than what's currently been occurring with it.
And it hasn't, and it doesn't have merit because it doesn't explain it. It's literally like saying, oh well, we don't know what it is, therefore aliens. Like it's almost it's an aliens of the gap. It's very similar to a god of the gap, even though we do kind of know what it is. These bodies that what Oumuamua is not like that far removed from what we've observed and experienced before. So it doesn't add up. But the more criticism he's received for it, the more he's doubled down on it. And now that we're 2 years into this, he's lost his fucking mind.
I mean, the geometry of that object of Oumuamua seems to be consistent with almost like a cigar-shaped object.
Well, not like cigar, just very elongated, which we've seen elongated objects like that before.
I don't know. I don't think he's lost it. I mean, I think it's just one of those active debates within the scientific communities once more. I mean,
I don't. This really isn't a debate. The only person that's trying to debate it is him, and his colleagues are like, look, dude, we've read everything. We've taken a look at this. Your explanation doesn't make the cut. Give it up. And he's not giving it up. And Dr. Jill Tarter is who Dr. Ellie Arroway is based on loosely from Carl Sagan's Contact. She's very well respected, very reputed, and Avi just interrupted her and then went off on this fucking diatribe. And I'm sorry, that's not okay. He literally just mansplained to her. But I'll be
Well,
talking about this more in my video tomorrow. So
I think this is a far more regular occurrence in the scientific community than people would like to come to
What?
grips with.
Mansplaining?
No, not that particularly, but the facts that disputes within various scientific communities are not exactly handled in the best of ways, and they can become quite
They're not.
intense over the
Like,
years.
take Sir Roger Penrose, for instance, who's been pushing his conformal cyclic cosmology for like 2 decades now, despite the fact that like he's the only one that's really advocating for it amongst professionals, because it doesn't match the observations that we have. The predictions that it makes just don't match our observations, yet he's still pushing it. And people think, well, he won a Nobel Prize. Cool. That doesn't mean his model is correct.
Well, it just means the model needs modification.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The more you have to modify a model to get it to fit with data over other models, I mean, at that point, we just use Occam's razor. I mean, if you have to modify your model to fit the data rather than the data just sort of conforming to your model, that doesn't necessarily mean your model's wrong, but it doesn't lend merit to your model.
I mean, the thing is, I mean, you have to let a model be exposed to reality to see whether or not it needs modification. And
That is
especially the types of theories we're dealing with, I mean, it's inevitable that you're going to have modification occurring, especially in regards to things concerning the nature of space-time and gravity.
I can agree with that to an extent, yes. But at the same time, if there are other models like the lambda CDM model that fit the data without as many modifications, then we should stick with those. And I understand that CCC is lambda CDM, but extending it, but it's not. I've looked at it. I think it's cool. It's not like it's not an interesting model to look at. I just don't think it's very accurate. I don't think it's an accurate, because I don't think that cyclic cosmological models are really they're not viable models to me. Most cosmologists don't accept cyclic cosmology. I don't think it's likely. At best, I would be willing to grant something along the lines of like the Carol Chen model, or God, what's the other one? Models like some models that you have in loop quantum gravity, where there's two universes. Not really, it's just one universe. One that contracts from minus infinity, hits a boundary, bounces back out, and then expands to plus infinity, which is the one we're in. You could consider it two universes. Most of them, they're connected by a sort of a bridge, a thermodynamic bridge, where the thermodynamic seems to flip. Though at best, those are the models that I would be willing to grant. But cyclic models are not taken very seriously, and they've been proposed for a number of decades. I would argue that there's probably a reason most serious cosmogonists aren't considering cyclic cosmologies.
Yeah, hard to say. I mean,
but that's not to say that the universe isn't cyclic. It very well could be. I mean, we don't know yet, but I would argue that the data, at least thus far, doesn't seem to indicate that strongly enough to consider it viable as measured against other types of cosmological models. That's I think a better way of putting it.
No, I mean, I think with the Oumuamua thing, I mean, there's been an exchange of papers in regards to whose explanation is better than what and things like that, and it's a hot mess.
It really is. That one was one that saw some serious contention in the community, just straightforwardly. Which, you know, it's understandable why there's quite a bit of contention there.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you go ahead.
I was just going to say to you, if you go to the video tab or menu or whatever on Answers in Atheism, and there'll be a drop down next to the word upload, and go down to past live streams, your presentation shows up.
Oh, the one he did on QM?
Yeah.
That was a really good presentation.
That's cool.
That was very good. And there was a level of like enthusiasm you had in it when you do something, like when you're talking about Z by Z star, you're talking about this leads to a really interesting conclusion. And I'm just like, yes, I like that level of enthusiasm and that like building up this anticipation that, you know, something interesting is coming out of what's going on. That's how, especially when you're diving into like math and advanced science, that's how it needs to be taught. So that people, you sort of build up this anticipation and get people interested in it. They want to know more. They want to know what things can happen when you do certain operations or what have you.
Yeah, I was tempted to explain what general multiplication for 2 by 2 vectors looks like, and it's like, no, that generates a 16-dimensional phase space, and no, nope, not doing that. Nope.
2 by 2 vectors. Are you talking that means the vector represented by a 2 by 2 matrix, correct?
Well, multiplication in the complex plane with two arbitrary complex numbers, say one is a plus bi and the other is c plus di. It's exceptionally hard to generalize that and predict where it's going to land. Because, well, think about it. Both A and B, both A, B, C, D can each be positive or negative.
Yep.
So you have 2 to the 4 possibilities in terms of multiplication, and you also have to consider whether or not the other term that comes out of it, which would be AD plus ADI plus B, the two complex parts of that pop out, whether or not their sum is less than 0 or greater than 0. And it's exceptionally complicated to predict. And part of that is just because, I mean, in general, right, complex numbers, if you're just considering one of them, it takes 2 real numbers to generate it. And so it makes sense that if you're, incorporating more complex numbers, it becomes a hell of a lot more complicated.
Yeah. Like you said, complex analysis is it's what word am I supposed to finish that with? It's complex analysis.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's wild, because even if you consider something basic like iteration in the complex plane, like you take a recursive function and you consider, okay, fine, set z equals 0, but what happens if you keep iterating the same constant, with the function? And it's just it's wild. I mean,
it really is.
Like,
That's a good word.
Like the Mandelbrot set, I mean, it's an infinite fractal that's generated from a set of a very basic rule. Just like, golly. Yeah, the complex numbers and the complex plane are just very difficult concepts to understand.
It really is. It's hard to sort of intuit in a sense, because you'll look at something and it's like, okay, I'm getting the right answer, but what? Like, I don't follow how I got the right answer. I can't tell you how many people that have taken like complex analysis and said, like, I passed the class, but I don't know how. Like, I would get the right answer, but I couldn't like tell you how I got the right answer. I just did.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. Like most people will tell you, most integrals, like in the complex plane, are impossible to solve, if not damn near close to.
That is very true. Yeah.
Because even if you're doing something like the residue theorem or something like that, you have to solve the integral, and it's like, here we go.
Yep.
You gotta try and make this thing work, and sometimes it doesn't want to.
Cat, what the fuck, cat?
Is your cat showing you its ass?
I don't know what he's doing here. He's
Your cat is doing what?
Okay, this is cool. This is a cat. That's what you do with a cat.
Is Drace joining? I thought we were talking about abio at some point with them.
We'd like to, so it'd be nice if somebody would join, and we could talk about the paper a little bit and about abio.
The residue theorem. I've heard of that. I know it.
Yeah, it's
what am I highlighting that for?
Yeah.
Let's see. One of the
I can share it with you. It's just
what is it? Oh, Jesus. Something about closed curves.
Yeah, it's 1 over 2 pi I times the contour integral of f of z over z minus z naught is the sum over residues, I think. Something like that.
I'd have to, well, let me do that. Let me look it up here.
Yeah, let me see. It's something. It's something that pops up.
Residue theorem.
Let's see.
Complex analysis. In complex analysis, a discipline within mathematics. The residue theorem, some come call Cauchy's residue theorem. I knew Cauchy. I'm pretty sure I thought Cauchy developed that. Is a powerful tool to evaluate line integrals of analytic functions over closed curves. It can often be used to compute real integrals and infinite series as well. It generalizes the Cauchy integral theorem and Cauchy's integral formula. From a geometrical perspective, it can be seen as a special case of the generalized Stokes theorem. Interesting.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot it was related to the Stokes theorem. Yeah, that's a thing too. But yeah, the residue theorem is something that you don't encounter until you hit like really.
You're in big boy math when you encounter
that. When you start using the residue theorem, that's when shit gets real. It's like, yeah, we have to use the residue theorem. Oh boy.
Okay, so nobody going to join us? Let's see. So basically, part one of that paper was to kind of set it up for the wet dry cycle hot spring hypothesis, and to show some of the problems like the water paradox can be overcome pretty simply. I think the homochirality paradox can be pretty simply overcome as well. I don't think it's that big a thing. If L-amino acids are more stable in polypeptide chains, then they are going to be the ones that do things, and the other ones are not.
May I ask a question?
What's that?
May I ask a question? I've heard. I can't. Okay, I'll just.
Well, no, I'm thinking. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I appreciate that. I know things get complicated when I show up, but when we talk about homochirality, that's a big talking point of at least Otangelo. I'm sure other
all of them
YECers talk about that as well. I know live. I've heard Demeter say that homochirality is not that big of a problem.
Yeah, we talked about
how is that in the I'm going to say it, in the legitimate scientific world among life scientists? Do they really consider homochirality to be a problem?
You don't hear that much talk about it.
Well, it's because it's not really much of a problem anymore.
It's because it's not much of a problem, because the D amino acids don't form. They don't form alpha helices, I don't think, or beta sheets, and so they don't end up being complicated proteins that may have some function. And the ones that have function are the ones that are going to be preserved. And they also, I think, they're a little less stable, I think, than they may break up or hydrolyze. So they're going to go away. So there's natural selection built right into the chirality. And I don't know for carbohydrates now whether there's something similar going on there. I don't know. I don't think so. I think carbohydrates are a little bit different. And maybe there's a homochirality problem with them, but you don't hear much talk about that either. So
yeah, when you're listening to the YEC side of things, you never know how in the greater scientific community how big of a problem it really is. For a person like me who's just diving into this to try to learn, it's hard sometimes to know how much weight to give.
Yep.
To these issues.
So I started playing around with a Python project to have real simple functions, and then I know I could do this in Ruby easy, but I got to figure out how to do it in Python. You get pointers to the functions, and you have like a pool of A's and B's and C's and D's, and then you have a whole bunch of little modular functions that do if A and B, then C, or if A, then A, which increases the amount of A, and then have this pool of functions constantly cycling. It would be like a nice, interesting little program. And then I'd have to have some output and then some sort of filter to determine whether or not it would live in the environment. So if it created a pleasing pattern, then we'd say, oh yeah, that's good, we'll keep that. I don't know. I mean, it would be a hell of a project, but I think you could put together a real simple programming system that would increase in complexity fairly easily. But I'm not. The thing has to mutate itself too, so the functions would have to mutate at some point.
Yeah, I know we kind of moved off this topic, but by the way, if you want a fairly soft introduction to complex analysis, Leo, easily one of the better ones I've seen are Complex Variables and Applications by Brown and Churchill.
Oh shit! Is that a book?
Yes, it is.
What is it called?
Complex Variables and Applications by Brown and Churchill.
Don't do it, Speed. Don't do it.
Do what?
Don't hit that one click button.
I'm not doing nothing.
I'll put the Amazon link in the private chat.
Yeah.
Well, that'll help.
I'll just leave it lingering over there all on its lonesome. It's also available on LiveGen.
Well, it's only I don't know what that is, but maybe you can explain to me later because I'm
I might have to, because since you're so old and just not hip with the technology anymore.
How many versions are there of it?
9.
9. So version 9th edition is the latest. Shit. Textbook. Free shit. Okay, you could rent it for $26, but I don't know what that other thing is. So anyway, it's
complex analysis that people have spent their whole lives studying.
I ain't buying it. I ain't buying that one. It's $100. I don't got $100. I broke.
Yeah.
I bought blueberries today. I bought a whole bunch of blueberries at Sam's Club, and I don't have any more money.
The cute thing about complex analysis is that it's actually used because some things are easier to deal with in the complex plane than in the real plane. And sometimes that turns out to be a nightmare.
So, Leo, when you come up for air, you're going to have to tell me what you're snacking on.
As long as he ain't snacking with the mute off. If you're going to eat fucking potato chips, I'm going to boot your ass.
Oh, sun chips. Yeah.
These aren't fucking potato chips, you goddamn troglodyte.
Sun chips are really good.
Now, cheddar, harvest cheddar. Okay. I'll be back.
That's my favorite. That is my favorite.
I'm going to slip and slide to Walmart. I'll be back.
I used to spend all of my money on vending machines at work on those fuckers until they were gone. I just love them. You know why? Because they're like the worst thing you could possibly put in your body. It's like carbon. It turns into instant sugar, and it coats your veins, and it fucking wrecks your brain. And they advertise it as sort of a healthy snack. I'm looking at this book, but it's kind of sweet. Kind of sweet.
It starts off pretty simple. It starts off fairly gentle, I'll say.
What's in there? Read the ingredients.
The chapter is complex variables, so sums and products, basic algebraic properties, further algebraic properties.
I'm talking about sun chips.
Oh, well, you're just not nice.
Cholesterol, sodium, total carbohydrates, 7 million.
Immutable was ready. He's like, oh, well, I'll tell you what's in the book. He was ready.
Well,
I like that.
Here you go, wanting mathematical enrichment and just...
Oh, this is a nice book. This is really... I mean, it starts out pretty simple.
Yeah, chapter 2 is a little interesting.
Yeah, fucking cool. Oh, God. There's that one click button. God, that one click. I'm shaking. I gotta shut it down. Fuck it.
Run to the breaker box and just switch everything off.
That'll help. What's a Kevin K? What is a Kevin K?
I don't know what's Kevin K.
Kevin Chaos?
Let's meet him. Hi, Kevin K. What do you want? Hey, Kevin K.
I was gonna say, if you want a really good introduction, to real and complex analysis, just take Math 55 at Harvard, reputed to be one of the hardest, if not the hardest, math class offered by any college or university in the United States of America.
What would you
Math,
take that?
55A is honors abstract algebra, and 55B is honors real and complex analysis.
No thanks.
Bill Gates took it.
I'm not Bill Gates. I don't need to be Bill Gates.
Bill Gates is a fucking poser. Kevin.
Hey, can you guys hear me? I don't know if my mic was working there.
Yeah, we can hear you.
you're good.
I was just hanging out. I'm the dumbest person in the room, so I'm here just to learn some stuff. Maybe have some stupid questions.
Go ahead and
Sure,
ask.
go
Questions are good. If you got any.
Right. Yeah, I'm just.
Did you watch the?
Getting,
Go ahead. Yeah.
So we're getting into like abiogenesis,
Oh shit.
right? This is kind of where we're coming.
Yeah, we got some roboting there, I think.
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit.
All right, so I
You
might
get
listen in. We'll see. Maybe they'll clean up here.
Yeah, we did the first. We did the first part of the paper, the first section, and we went ahead and did a little bit of part 2, which listed all the mechanisms, I think. But
Well, the things he was going to go into, I think. But yeah, sort of.
Creation Myths was asking about the paper, so. And I got to get prepared for section 2 so we can do that. I read it once, I'll read it again, and see if we can condense it a little more, maybe. And it would be cool if we downloaded some of the other papers and came up.
All right, I think I like this format.
You do? Okay. Do you mean reading the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess
think it's good.
I haven't gotten any feedback on it. Whether we're not getting a lot of views, but I don't know.
Well, you know what? That's the fate of this channel.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, if we link the papers, supposedly NCBI will notice that and link to our video. So maybe somebody will. I think we have to learn how to summarize a little bit better and maybe do some writing and talking, and that's what I was hoping we could do now, in the after show, but I'm not entirely sure what.
Well, supposedly Kevin will give us some things to talk about in terms of abio stuff. So
Yeah, questions, man.
Have you got questions? Abio does not have answers.
Okay, and so Dessel Drace probably respond to me, but okay, there seemed to be some. Okay, we were talking about neutral theory, and Dessel Drace had a paper in the meeting.
Somebody summarize what neutral theory is for me.
Oh shit! I couldn't. I'd embarrass myself if I tried.
Maybe Dr. Dan can come in and tell us, or
maybe
Dressel.
Dessel could. That would be cool. Oh, it's Danny. Oh no, it's Danny. Oh fuck, it's Danny. Hi, Danny.
Hey guys.
Did I say that out loud?
How's that thesis going, Danny?
It's not a thesis, but it's a long paper. And I took a break.
You took what? Oh, break.
Yeah, I took a break.
Good break.
My hands hurt from so much typing. I'm literally sore from.
What about voice to text? Maybe you should get voice to text.
I end up making. I actually make more mistakes when I do that because I have to go in and correct all of the weird stuff that it.
I know.
Dictated, and then you miss a correction, and then you look stupid.
Yeah, like I was talking about folk psychology today using that Google voice translation, and I said something like I don't know, I used some philosophy term, and it came up with some island in the Pacific, and capitalized it, and then it kept doing that. It kept coming up with these proper nouns instead of what I was fucking saying, and I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah, it creates more problems than it's worth.
It creates more problems. Anyway, neutral theory is, I think the idea was that there was mutations of, like genes and proteins, and that drove evolution. And Kimura came up with the idea that evolution was more driven by neutral synonymous and non-synonymous substitutions that in areas that were not necessarily vital or active, in non-conserved areas. So the junk DNA, the whole junkyard out there, right? That there was all of this stuff going on. And when the organism moved to a new environment or when something hooked up, that then there would be an evolutionary change. And it was driven more by that neutral area than it was by positive selection for new functions, that sort of thing. And it was groundbreaking. And it put us on a different course, looking at evolution in a more detailed way. And I think that sums it up anyway. I may be.
So what are we doing?
We're talking about biology and abiogenesis and
So the good
Seven?
stuff, right?
Abiogenesis.
And Kevin has got questions for us.
Yep. But he was botting a little bit. Kevin, are you still with us?
No.
I didn't know your name was Kevin, but thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Now we know Athena's true identity.
Identity.
Yeah. We could let Danny bitch at us about natural selection for a while.
I think I've heard that routine one too many times. I'll pass on that.
Really? I feel like we haven't talked about it in a long time.
It's been a week. It's been a week.
I know, Danny. It can stay longer.
Somebody say salty. Thought I heard someone say salty.
Probably.
Maybe, I don't know.
Didn't say anything.
I like salt.
You
So,
put
Danny,
salt.
how about the word combinatorial selection? How do you feel about that?
If you're asking me, I don't know.
Not
By
that
the way,
Danny-
if you go to my channel, you can. You fucking bitch. You dirty whore. There we go. You can set a reminder for the premiere of the second installment of Dr. Eigenstate Explains. I was an idiot and forgot to mention in the video that consciousness has nothing to do with wave function collapse, but it is in the description of the video.
Yeah, some physicists still haven't caught on to that concept.
That's true. Oh, that is true.
Unfortunately, there's still some people that take that view, and it's like, oh, come on.
I love it when people bring that up to me because I just pull out. I pull out all the stops in my explanation of it, and people look at me like, "What the fuck did you just say?"
Yeah, that's by far a minority position in physics.
Oh yeah, I mean the von Neumann-Wigner interpretation isn't even like on the radar when they poll physicists for which interpretations they like the best.
There is interesting competition between the Copenhagen interpretation and the Everett model.
Yeah.
I just find the Everett model more sensical and more mathematically appealing.
Well, it makes more sense mathematically. It's less complicated mathematically, in a sense. In a sense that you solved Schrödinger's equation.
It's
So,
just
there
math.
are physicists who- I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean Everett's model is just like, yeah, here's the Schrödinger equation, here's its solution.
What do the two physicists think of the pilot wave theory?
I don't even know. Let me pull up the model or the poll.
It's the hidden variables theory, essentially.
Yeah, because I read an article a couple of years ago that said that the pilot wave theory pretty much is bunk.
It was never really considered because I believe it violates non-locality.
Well, even if it was true, it wouldn't solve indeterminacy.
Exactly.
Bell solved that issue.
Alrighty, let's.
I personally am partial to string theory, even though it's not even wrong.
Well, string theory, if nothing else, follows the basic principle of physics, which is go for elegance, even if it's not right. Not to say it's not right, but it might be.
So,
Can string
the
theory
whole
still
thing
be
about
writing?
consciousness and wave theory, collapsing wave theory, does anybody take that actually seriously academically, or is that
Wait,
just?
which one?
Well, didn't you say something about consciousness and waveform?
Wave function. That's just a little
Wave
different. Waveform. Waveform applies just to broader wave mechanics. Anyway, so in this surveying the attitudes of physicists concerning foundational issues of quantum mechanics, which was done in 2016, it's a survey that's cited by a lot of people. What is your favorite interpretations of quantum mechanics? The ones they list are consistent histories, Copenhagen, de Broglie-Bohm, which is the pilot wave theory, Everett, information-based, information theoretical, modal interpretation, objective collapse like the GRW or the Penrose model, quantum Bayesianism, statistical interpretation, transactional interpretation, other, and I have no preferred interpretation of quantum mechanics. The one that leads with 39% is Copenhagen. The second one is at 36% is I have no preferred interpretation of quantum mechanics. If we eliminate that one, Copenhagen leads with 39%, and the Everettian model and the information-based model are both tied at 6%. The Broglie-Bohm has 2%. And the von Neumann-Wigner interpretation isn't even on the list because that's a demonstration of how seriously it's taken. I know von Neumann came to abandon it. I don't know if Eugene Wigner ever did. Or was that the other way around?
Might have been Wigner. I don't think von Neumann abandoned it.
I want to say that maybe both of them did. One just did significantly later than the other. It never really got off the ground, though.
I do have a quick question.
Sure.
Okay, don't people get confused? When we're talking about consciousness and the wave function, aren't people confusing an observer with consciousness?
Yes, they are typically.
What an observer is in quantum mechanics is really just reducible to an observable, which is represented by a self-adjoint.
And he froze. Lovely.
Isn't it just an interaction of particles?
Yeah, which means that the observers is every particle in the universe looking at itself.
Yeah, to observe something, you have to modify the state, basically, with another particle. I mean, when you're at a particle, I mean, we can observe an orange without fucking it up too much, but you can't do that to a subatomic particle.
I mean, even though we can't see the particles in the air, we do see it's never mind. It's weird to put into words. Yeah. But we see particles all around us. We just can't see them.
So Kevin, you still around, or what's happening here?
I thought I was Kevin.
No, you're not.
No, we haven't asked Kevin. Yeah.
You're okay. I don't know. You guys are going to talk about quanta and mind? Oh, Snake is doing some kind of after show. Oh, shit. Snake is doing an after show?
Snake was wrong. I mean, right.
Show. So why did you highlight those particular items? Are you just reviewing the paper?
Yeah.
Or do you want to talk about?
Well, the interesting thing is that amphiphilic compounds are present in carbonaceous meteorites and can assemble into membranous vessels. So we know that.
Yep.
Where did everybody go? Why did everybody
see that video, that Cray lecture?
Also synthesized by photochemical reactions, Dworkin. And I don't know do you know what a Fischer-Tropsch type reaction is?
No, I thought you did.
Is my mic working?
We got a chemist here.
It's working, Leo.
Okay.
It's been a while since I looked that up. Fischer type reactions are common. I just forget what the hell it is.
It's a Fischer-Tropsch. Well, let me take a look.
I wonder if I should wait until my third stimulus check to buy bookshelves.
Midnight, did you hear my answer to your question?
What was that, Leo?
Did you hear my answer to your question?
Oh.
Can you repeat it?
So you did mention confusing an observer with consciousness or a consciousness of quantum mechanics. Technically speaking, an observable, which is a thing that you can measure, like position, momentum, energy, time, spin, yada yada yada, Raman,
yeah.
are represented by alpha-joint operators on a Hilbert space.
Let's see.
All right, thank you.
I.e., consciousness has fucking nothing to do with it.
So basically, liquid hydrocarbons are formed from carbon monoxide and hydrogen.
Nice.
So that's a pretty simple concept.
You scroll down through the contents and then stop when they're all there. Okay, or go past them. That's cool. Oh no, right here, reaction mechanism. This is what I wanted.
2N plus 1 H2 plus.
Okay, there's alkanes. So it makes alkanes. So that's good.
Let's see. So 2N plus 1 H2s plus N molecules of carbon monoxide gives you
Plus some H2O. So it just makes alkanes.
Formation of methane. Don't scroll down. Don't scroll down. Don't scroll down. Don't scroll down. Formation of methane.
oh, it
What?
makes alkenes. Okay, that's interesting.
Suitable as diesel fuel. Oh, okay. Information competing.
Yeah, you can make oil out of it or grease.
As well as
Fuck with that, Kevin Tay.
oxygenated hydrocarbons.
Huh? Curious. So it makes alkenes. That's interesting.
What if it makes alkenes too? I'm guessing.
Yeah, it does. CnH2n plus 2 usually is alkene.
Oh.
Not always the case, but sometimes.
Okay, so we know what that is.
Well,
Multi-tubular fixed bed reactor. Okay, these are just the different kinds of catalysts. Interesting. Look at this shit.
metals are cool and weird and terrifying.
Oh my god, it's got cobalt.
Yep.
I like it. Metals are cool. And metals were pretty fucking important in abiogenesis. So anyway.
They were.
So
Speed, Speed? You're wasting your time. God exists.
yeah, I know.
Y'all just want to sin.
I just want to sin.
I just want to say, and that's why I read those papers. They're sin papers.
Sin papers. Well, I like my cheesecake.
I wanted to ask Dan broke LPP's Lil PP's code.
Oh, did he?
Did he?
Well, Drace is saying he did.
I wouldn't have spent any time on that fucking thing, but that's
Well, I mean, you know, Dan has a sort of rivalry.
yeah.
Well, I say rivalry because two rivals are supposed to be equals.
So is this true,
I
Dr.
know.
Dan? Did you break the code?
Why we should have brought it up when Dan was in the, or is he still in the chat?
No, not Danny,
So,
but Dr. Dan.
Dan's expecting-
Wait, hold on. What makes you think Danny cracked the code?
I know.
Well, I
Yeah,
meant
no
Dr.
offense, but
No, I meant Dr. Dan.
Okay, I was gonna say. Oh, that was a good one, Scott. I like.
Yeah. Non-coding repeats, right? Yeah, I think I did mention that it was all that spare stuff we got out there, mutating and modifying.
I just heard me a kitty.
Yeah, he got a little pissed off at me because I wouldn't pet him, so he makes that noise and he jumps over he leaped over my $4,000 computer and
damn.
So,
you
I do have
fucked
another
up those
question.
critters.
Is this Tropsch or Tropsch? Official
Tropsch.
Tropsch. Okay.
Trough, probably. Kind of stuff in names. I'll just say it. Most of them are German, and the other ones are like French.
Should I wait for bookshelves?
How many books do you have?
Too many.
I went to Home,
Number.
I went to
what?
Home Depot and bought brackets and had them screwed into the wall, and then bought long boards that were kind of. They have two types. They have real cheap ones, or like 12 feet long, and you just hang them on your bookshelf or hang them on those brackets, and you got a real cheap bookshelf that's really, really strong and powerful. And
You know, one of these days, I really should count other books I have in my apartment alone, because I guarantee you it's more than 100, or maybe less than 100. But I have a lot of books, and more to come.
yeah,
If I'm not
like-
careful, I'm going to turn into Speed, spend all my money on books, and have nothing left.
He bought 3 books tonight.
3 books. Okay, well.
Well, wait a minute. You didn't buy that one about
no, I bought 2 tonight.
Complex. Okay.
I bought 2, and they were.
Analysis book?
Yep.
I
I
already
love
told you where
books.
I already told you where you could find it for free.
Yeah, I
I
know.
want to marry a book.
Well, this channel does not condone that sort of behavior.
Okay, you don't have to show people how to do it, you dumbass.
What?
I didn't get an answer to my question from Midnight because he didn't give me a number. He just gave me a quantifier. Like, how many books do you have?
Oh, sorry. Maybe more than 100. I don't know. I haven't.
Get a
I haven't.
bookshelf. Get
What?
a bookshelf. Get a bookshelf.
Yeah, I know. I know, but see, here's here's the thing. I want to buy a few bookshelves, like in my room. I want to have like 405, 405, by my like next to my bed, and then one over here, one, like what I mean. I have a lot of books, so I don't know. Like maybe, I don't know whether I should just wait until the stimulus check, whenever the fuck that comes, or just buy one now.
So
wait a minute.
$1,400 stimulus check.
Yes.
Okay, do you see what's on the screen? So apparently, Dr. Dan cracked the code.
Holy shit! Who saw it coming? Who saw
John
it coming?
John didn't pay him
Yeah, who saw it coming?
the $500. Is he that much of a scumbag that he's not
Wait,
gonna pay
so
him?
John's not paying? John's not paying the price?
I want to hear more about this. I want to hear more.
I don't
Oh,
know
why
where
will
Dan
people
is. I don't
needed to see if this happens?
I mean,
Damn
who
it,
saw it
Dr. Dan's
coming?
probably feeding a baby.
I mean, come on, man. Who saw it coming?
I
Did
see
you
that-
honestly think
Really,
that-
Maddox being dishonest about money and claiming
Oh,
that he has
yeah.
more money than he does?
I mean,
I
I'm
saw that
blind.
All the way
Yeah.
too.
I'm blind, and I saw it coming.
I mean, does anybody honestly think that John actually had $500 to give up for this?
No,
Oh, I'm
but
sure. No, hold on. I'm sure he has money. He just doesn't want to give it out.
No, I don't think so. There's no proof. He had to start a GoFundMe to take a couple days off from his
I mean,
$15
so
job.
what? Like that's everybody has money, and they started GoFundMe.
no, but remember, this is the same guy who needed to take off so he could he could be on paid leave and get donations. But also remember that he was the same guy who's going to fly out, put y'all up all nice in a hotel, and then debate you in like the middle of nowhere, fuck all, university. So we can always be sure that Maddox is extremely literal with the offers he makes.
Because he didn't think anybody was going to crack it, so I'd really like to know what the crack was. I looked at it and I started to. I could feel myself wanting to obsess over it because I do that with codes, and I said no, fuck this. It's stupid. It's Maddox.
Crack the code, Speed.
It's Maddox throwing out a red herring. That's what it is. Why would I spend my time fucking with that when it's such a waste of time, that kind of shit.
Why would you spend your time wondering what this incessant man-child is complaining about when we all know what he complains about?
Yeah, I know.
Well, okay. I like to point out that that you guys spend like every day talking about man children like such a standing. By the way, I'm joking.
No. Hold on. Immutable. Are you saying that the foresight and the logic gates that exist in the genetic code?
God damn, that's good.
Without by chance?
It took me a little
You're
bit
doing
to
pretty
realize.
That was good, Leo.
All those little pauses, he doesn't even know what he's gonna say.
I know.
Okay.
He's making it up as he goes, and it's just like, all right, Maddox.
These are expensive as hell. Holy shit, these bookshelves are expensive as hell.
It's like, all right, Maddox, lay it on me, hon. I'm waiting. I'm dying to hear it.
What, you talking to me?
You give me. I'm just gonna ask you how it proves you're God, and you're not gonna answer that question.
Oh, we got the Maddox whisperer back.
Oh boy, here we go, Danny.
Like, you know what? No, let's not bring it up. But I am interested to see, what the other side is saying about a certain something.
Can we all just be glad that Maddox and Smokey are no longer a power couple?
Has anybody heard anything from good old Nicholas Witless?
No.
Oh, that little cuck boy is not
been
power
quiet,
at all.
Yeah, he's
Is he not
probably
like a part of anybody's show at all?
no. He's probably sick to his stomach right now.
Wouldn't him and Danny just make the cutest couple?
I mean, I think Nicholas is probably hiding a person in his beard. That's
Damn. Didn't Family have a joke about that or something?
Holy shit, the last time he posted was 2 months ago, Nicholas. I worry about that guy's mental health. I wonder if he's okay.
Trust me, so do
I
I.
would be worried about mental health if I was actually convinced he had a mind, and I'm not sure I'm convinced on that one either.
God damn, immutable.
Well, does he have a brain?
Well,
If
you know,
I only
if
had a
he's the
brain.
first example of a disembodied mind, I have other things to worry about.
Yeah, it's 2 months. It's 2 months since he's done anything. That's kind of scary, actually, for him, because he was going strong for a while.
Nicholas is always like the thing is what's so weird about what's weird about Nicholas isn't the fact that like he always has things to say because of course creationists do that. It's the fact that like he gets so emotional over things. Oh my god, he's like a
He has to
cute.
wrestle with the flesh.
Oh Jesus.
Well, that's what worries me about him. You know, and he's got a history of, pretty dark life, I think, and that can come back on you pretty fast, especially if you're as screwed up as he seemed to be.
He's like almost in his like mid-30s and still living with his parents' basement. Yeah, that's a.
Hey, don't talk to me. Oh, wait, never mind. I moved out.
Well, thank you for self-validating, but okay, I do appreciate the volunteer.
I mean, come on, immutable. I'm trying to have fun here.
Hey, you give me the material, I will give you something for it.
I worry about the Christians.
Well, they worry about you and your soul, so it works out.
Yeah, but they
You
don't
shouldn't really be worried. It's kind of stupid.
They could give a rat's ass about my life and my body. I care about their lives and their bodies. I don't give a fuck about their soul. So we're like that. I think that's what divides us. I care what happens to them in the here and now, and they're worried about my life in eternity after I die. It's like I don't give a rat's ass after I die.
Neither do I. The soul isn't real. There's no.
That is the definition of death: is not giving a rat's ass about anything.
But Leo, I want to live forever.
That couldn't happen.
Why? What would you do?
Make up for lost time, Speed. That's what I would do.
Oh my God! You should
I
be
could
doing
live
that
forever
right
and
now.
I'd still lose time.
You a youngster? You should be doing that right now.
Leo, never mind. I'm not going to explain that. It's a turn. You know what? Moving on.
Moving off.
Moving on up.
Had the
Moving
capacity. Yeah, I don't know.
You youngsters probably don't get most of the references that we come up with.
Nope.
Scott,
I'm 36, going on 37, so I get everything.
okay. You were around during the 80s and the 80s shit shows that they were putting on TV.
I was born in 1984.
Oh shit! My kids were born in
Boy, that's
81.
almost.
Hey, my kids are going to be 40 next month.
Wait, are you being
Oh, wow.
serious? You were born in 1984.
Yes.
Boy, that's almost as old as. Wait, that's actually you are younger than Christian. Jesus Christ.
He's younger than
I'm younger than
Christianity.
Smokey, too.
I know.
Wait, you're 37 years old?
Well, I'm 36. I'll be 37 this year. December 2nd.
Oh, you're a youngster. You are a youngster.
Yeah, but I feel old.
Oh
Well,
God!
that's a state of being.
Actually, no, you know what? I feel young. Fuck you all.
There you go.
You know
I
what
didn't-
it is?
You were
You know
old.
what it is, guys? It's called genetic entropy.
Oh, shut the fuck up if you
Oh,
don't.
there you go.
I feel nothing.
That's
What,
that's
Homer?
that's a worse condition.
Yeah.
I got to hand it to this fucking cat. He's up there working on getting through the window with his claws again. Thor, come on.
He's trying to escape.
You need to open up a separate live stream that goes on perpetually with the camera just watching your cat try to get out the window.
Yeah. I got to go open the
You will get so many hits.
So what's going to
That's
happen though is I'm going to go open the door for him. He's going to walk out there and it's like, I don't know, it's like 0 degrees and he's going to come back about 30 seconds later and then he'll go to sleep. So that's what this is. So I'm going to go do that.
No. You know what he's going to do? He's going to go out that door. He's going to find a mouse. He's going to bring the mouse back alive. And now you're going to have a live mouse that's going to be tormented for a few weeks before it dies of terror.
Right.
Shock.
Sometimes they bring chipmunks in or birds, which are more problematic. Far more problematic.
Yeah, you don't want a chipmunk or a bird in your house.
Yeah, chipmunk up on my bookcase, and I have to go catch him. I've got a butterfly net, so I got to run around and catch the goddamn thing. It's like, damn. I fucking hate
I have a
that.
question.
They're keeping you young, Speed. They're keeping you young, my man.
Hey, Leo.
Hopelessly devote. Sorry, I love to. I'm in a singing mood today.
Yeah.
Don't. Just
Leo?
don't.
I
What?
guess Leo's not hearing me.
I'm hearing you just fine.
Tell me how significant this is. I was watching a channel. It was called Dr. Becky. She's an astrophysicist, and she mentioned that some group went through some telescope data or data from a satellite that was looking for something else, and they found 1,000 new instances of gravitational lensing.
Damn.
Is that a significant find,
Wait,
or is that interesting at
Found that
all?
in-
Yes.
They found
You
that in
explain
what?
it.
It was I think they were going through some data that a different project had collected. It was either satellite data or observatory data. I don't know how they locate gravitational lensing, but they found over 1,000 systems, instances where gravitational lensing was occurring.
Well,
To
I mean,
me,
the
no,
early
that's not
examples-
significant because we see gravitational lensing all the fucking time.
Okay, so
Well-
that's something they've been looking at.
I don't know about that particular system or whatever. I just know gravitational lensing isn't a rare occurrence.
Did we find mini black holes also?
No.
Hang on, let me look it up.
Well,
Mini as an
gravitational waves-
M-E-N-Y or mini as an M-I-N-I?
I mean, gravitational waves, the earliest they were recognized was like the 1970s, 1980s, I believe.
They were
Micro
predicted by
black
Einstein's
holes.
general theory of relativity, but we didn't observe any of them until 2015.
Well, you mean directly observe them, but
There was no other way to observe them other than the ways that we
Okay,
have.
hold on. I just found it from 2019, but apparently miniature black hole surprises astronomers. It shouldn't exist. Forbes. I don't know. Is Forbes a reliable site?
Well, it depends.
Everybody-
Who wrote the article?
I fucking hate.
Does
I
the
fucking hate that
URL
fucker.
does the URL have starts with a bang in it?
Forbes got political in the last 10, 15 years.
No, it doesn't start with a bang. It's Forbes.com/sites/Dr. Don Lincoln /2019/11/01/miniature -.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Athena, on this channel, we have a new policy of never reading out long URLs.
No,
So
well,
sorry.
thanks for telling me.
You didn't know.
But I mean, I think we observed gravitational waves like way back because of how two different radars would essentially be trying to measure different regions of the sky, and in fact, one that was measuring a galaxy that is supposed to be measuring would observe it fine, but another one would apparently observe the same galaxy, even though that's not what it was directed towards, and it was because of the essentially the shifting caused by gravitational lensing.
It would depend on the distance.
Well,
It
yeah,
would
I mean,
depend on the distance of the galaxy because most gravitational waves that we detect they have no substantial effect on anything that we could observe.
yeah, but I can link you the video where I heard that fact, but I do think that there were other instances like where we now recognize that those were probably the effects of gravitational lensing at play.
Well, gravitational lensing and gravitational waves are not the same thing.
Well, yeah.
Well,
But this article on miniature black holes, the title is just kind of clickbaity. Miniature black holes are also often meant for micro black holes, which are black holes that exist at a quantum mechanical level. This is talking about black holes smaller than 5 times the mass of the sun, which most astrophysicists didn't suspect could exist, but we found one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. By the way, what do you guys think of that bookshelf I just posted? It's like 29 bucks.
Oh,
It's pretty nice. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
27,
Oh God.
24.
No. Doom. Don't.
Why you
don't
don't want
do
me to? Why you don't like it?
Well, it's only got 2 shells for one thing, and these things are just pains in the ass.
Don't you mean 3 shelves? I see 3.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. Well, you need more.
Well, yeah, but I'm buying. I'm buying more than these. More than just one. You know what I mean? Like I'm waiting for the stimulus check to come, whenever the fuck it comes. Joe Biden, if you're listening, get ready.
On our stamp.
Get cracking. What?
I fully expect Joe Biden to listen to our broadcast. I really think it's that
He always
valuable.
listens. Rush Limbaugh listens too.
Okay, you know what? Here's an interesting. I can buy it Columbia walnut, dark brown, dark walnut, espresso, French oak gray black, light blue,
Dark
light
walnut.
cherry, pink, or Sonoma oak.
Dark walnut.
Dark walnut.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah.
Okay then. So, oh wow, actually, that's weird. Okay, let me add it to cart. Let me see how much it will come.
You just taking my recommendation, doesn't it? It kind of depends on your decor. But dark walnut's usually not a problem.
You know what,
for
Speed?
What?
You're a decor.
A decor?
Yeah, that's what you are, a decor.
Is that like a subatomic particle? Decor? A decor?
No, that would be a dick-on. Or is that a character from a song?
Dickion. Dickion?
Dick so small, we call it a dick-on.
Hey, Danny.
Yeah, what's up?
Read the last sentence you just typed to us.
Oh God, what did you do?
Yeah, I just wrote, I will evaluate whether it will be a problem to appeal to a problem for the appeal to psychic harmony to overcome the circularity objection, and then show how the independence test relates to a problem in ethical theory.
So is that your introduction?
No.
Okay, because you said I will show. I thought, okay.
The essay is divided into 3 sections, essentially.
Gotcha. Okay. I was just making sure you were really, working on your thesis and not just bragging.
Do you have a proofreader?
Do I have someone to proofread my essay? I don't. I would have to pay them if they were to do that.
I'll do it for free. Unless you want to pay me.
If you're interested in it, then sure. But I feel like it's not going to be very much fun.
I mean, I'll be the judge of that.
All right.
Alrighty then.
It's like it would be like listening to Danny without water, or
Hey, Leo.
I believe you have my email, Mr. Danny.
What's up,
Dan?
Yeah, I'll send it, and it has stuff on divine command theory because I'm criticizing Kant. I feel like it's not any better than divine command theory. So because the criticisms of divine command theory are pretty good, I think, and I'm just applying a similar criticism to a categorical imperative.
Oh shit!
What did you mean, Scott?
Fuck.
I was just going to say that the project that they got that lensing data from was from the DESI experiment. Dark energy spectroscopic instrument is a stage 4 ground-based dark energy experiment that will study baryon acoustic oscillations.
Yeah.
The growth. So what? But anyway, they got the data from them and seemed to have found over 1,000 lensing candidates. That's what I was getting at. I just didn't know how significant that was, or if it was impressive or anything.
Well, what did Dr. Becky say? She's the fucking doctor here, not me.
Well, she was just basically. I think this particular whatever Thursday is going to be in the month is the news month. She does a whole month's worth of news articles and stuff, just headlines, and that was one of them. She didn't really get into whether it was a significant find or whatever. Besides, I just watch her because she's cute and perky.
Who?
Dr. Becky's the British one, I believe.
Dr. Becky Smethurst.
Yeah, I believe she's the British one. Works at Oxford.
Yeah.
Oxford University.
I like that Hofstadter girl.
She's nice.
She
Hossenfelder, yeah.
She
I always
really-
forget German. She's got kind of a. She's not very expressive, but her sense of humor is really, I think, it's funny.
Oh yeah.
She's German. She's not funny.
Oh,
She gets me blood pressure in a tangle.
she's a cutie.
Yeah.
Which probably no physicist wants to be called a cutie.
Well, her intelligence amplifies that cute so many times.
That does make her attractive.
I mean, there's some gravitational lensing right there.
Discovering new strong gravitational lenses in the DESI legacy imaging surveys. X Wang, C. Storfer, A. Gu, V. Ravi, A. Pilon, W. Shu, R. Venguswamy, S. Banka, A. Day, M. Landriau, D. Lang, A. Meissner, G. Mustakis, A. D. Myers, R. Sajith, maybe that's Sahith, I don't know, E. G. Schlafly, D. J. Schlegel.
Who the fuck is Boner be gone?
What?
Boomer be gone. Boomer's about to be gone.
Oh,
wants to
Boomer.
watch TV.
Okay, I misread that.
Oh my God! There is a movie on Netflix called "Map of what the fuck? The Little Things." What? Oh, what is it called? Hang on a second. It was like Groundhog Day. It's fucking amazing.
Y'all wouldn't be bored if all of like the young Earth creationists let go of their views and
No.
came to decide. I
I
mean,
think we just get on with the science, which is really
oh no, I need people to like. No, I think they're like very.
We'd
They're
still,
this joke.
have flat earthers. We'd still have
Well, they
flat
help.
earthers.
Danny, they really drive us. I mean, as far as
There's the
content.
flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, faith healers.
Old Earth creationists. You still have those.
Okay, here it is. Map of Tiny Perfect Things. It's an absolutely wonderful movie.
Wait, so y'all don't want them to go away, do you? Like,
Yeah, I want them to go away.
no,
Yes, I
no,
want them to go away
Wait, hold on.
forever. They're
Wait,
idiots.
hold on. What do we mean by go away? Like not be a young Earth creationist anymore, or just
yeah,
like
yeah.
that would be cool.
I'll take it either way. I don't
No,
really care.
that's so
I
boring.
don't make a distinction.
Yeah, more people being scientifically literate isn't boring to me.
No, that is very boring to me.
No, it's not. This is why you're bad at science.
I haven't even tried to do science.
And that's why you're bad at it, because you don't try.
I'm giving him shit. He's not that bad.
I mean, like, I don't know anything, but no. The point is that they generate a lot of content. Are you kidding me? This is like,
Yeah, but the problem is that they tend to, well, for one thing, they're not generating a whole lot of new content, but they tend to get us swinging in too many different ways. And what we really need to do is drill down a little deeper on some specific things. So in a lot of ways, they're kind of bad for me right now. Oh, David's here.
David!
Hello, I have arrived.
They do drive our research, which is kind of cool. But then there's so much crap coming out right now that I'm going in 50 different directions and I can't get one direction right, you know?
David, you don't want them to go away, right?
I want them to go.
What was that?
You
Creationists.
you want creationism, right? Like they fulfill you, right?
Oh, icky. No, they're dangerous. They're dangerous people. They're dangerous for humanity.
That's
No,
so silly.
fucking problems for humanity. They gotta go.
No.
I would agree that young Earth creationism is inherently dangerous because, of course, it is a false belief that is not rooted in any facts or science or reason whatsoever.
Wait, but how does that follow that like a false belief is like dangerous?
Because they're involved. Okay, right now, Ken Ham, I think it was. I just got what the hell was it? Where did I see this? Okay, SFT just did a video about teaching children creationism today. Today he fucking did that. That's child abuse.
Is that dangerous?
That's dangerous child abuse.
No.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Danny.
I don't know what you
wait,
mean by dangerous.
Wait, hold on, wait. If I
Here's the
teach people
problem.
that vaccines are bad, is that dangerous?
Yeah, well, here,
Oh, man.
so here's the problem with young Earth creationism. In order to believe young Earth creationism, you have to reject every single field of science, because young Earth creationism is literally the only pseudoscience that is literally refuted by every single field of science. And by its very nature, young Earth creationism is basically a conspiracy theory, so to speak.
Okay, well, let me grant all of that.
I can't. I cannot think of I cannot think of a single field of science that, I can. Excuse me, I should say, I cannot think of any other pseudoscience that is literally refuted by every field of science.
Well, okay, but I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is that it's dangerous.
What is dangerous? What would you classify as dangerous?
Like it causes harm or something.
Wait, creation doesn't cause harm.
I mean, it could. The point is that it doesn't have that causal disposition.
I would
Okay,
argue.
okay. I'm going to be you and say and ask define harm.
Well, it's a normative concept, but let's just talk. I guess so maybe think of violence, or like when someone is suffering. I guess so. Pain. Think of
Wait,
pain.
hold on. If a parent raises their kids to be anti-vax and doesn't vaccinate their kids against deadly diseases, you wouldn't argue that's dangerous because there's no violence.
If a parent raises their kids to hate homosexuals and to deny their own sexuality, does that do any harm?
Well, look,
I didn't finish my point. The final point that I wanted to make was, I don't think danger as a concept or a term inherently requires violence.
Well, harm or pain, right? I try to be more clear. Sorry, but I guess with respect to your question, Leo, what matters is whether people are being vaccinated or not whether people believe that the vaccination is something wrong.
But people believe that vaccinations are not good. They are less likely to vaccinate themselves or other dependents they may have, thus leaving those individuals open for contracting diseases that individuals in the modern age shouldn't be contracting, which would potentially result in more unnecessary deaths, correct?
Well, I could grant a probability, but that's not going to establish a causal link.
Wait a minute, Danny. Got a paper to be working on.
I got the time.
Are you sure you want to do that? Okay, I'm just raising that possibility.
You got the time.
Okay, Danny, with young Earth.
We've got the beer.
Look, the point is that I'm not gonna dispute that some beliefs cause harm, but those same beliefs might not cause harm. So to me, it's just kind of a case by case basis, right?
Yeah, and here's the case. Okay. So they're teaching them young Earth creationism, and they're teaching them this biblical story that their body is sinful flesh, and they should feel guilt, and they should reject the flesh, and they should think only about the afterlife, and that fucking people rode dinosaurs and weird shit like that. And look at those kids in that picture. I mean, look at how innocent children are. And you can dump that shit in their brain. And overall, for society, the only way that we're ever going to proceed as a race is to embrace what neuroscience is teaching us about the mind right now, and what you can do about the mind, like what you can do about bullying tendencies and asshole wife-beating males, and what you can do about all of that. And we have a whole lot of information that's never going to make it into the public sphere or public education as long as these motherfuckers are in charge of anything.
Yeah, but that's not going to be explained by...
Okay, hang on a second. And they
Can I just say something really quick?
And when speed's done.
I'm done.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead, David.
But yeah, again, teaching young Earth creationism to children is basically akin to teaching children flat Earth. Ultimately, it sows a distrust. Ultimately, it shows a distrust in science and in the scientific method, where you kind of have to suspend reality in order to get it to fit your preconceived conclusions.
Yeah, I'm not going to dispute that some people do, or will maybe there's harm produced by those sorts of beliefs. But the point is that that's where I would have an issue is in the cases in which someone's life is when someone's suffering or in pain as a result of the beliefs. But I'm not going to make an inference from that. Therefore, the belief has some kind of causal disposition towards those sorts of outcomes.
Why?
Well, because you could easily imagine someone having those beliefs and not being in pain, in fact, being benefited by them.
But that isn't what happens. The belief definitely has something to do with what choices you make and with that distrust of science. And then you're more likely to believe some fucking cock and bull theory about drinking fucking bleach for COVID or that COVID is all a conspiracy. I mean, these guys are just rife with weird ass right wing bullshit, and it all connects to creationism.
Yeah, I think
quick
that can be supported though.
Can I ask
you don't think beliefs? You don't think beliefs determine behavior?
I don't think beliefs have a causal disposition towards behavior.
They don't have a causal disposition toward behavior.
Oh,
So if you believe a bus is heading toward you, you don't. That has no a causal effect on what you're going to do next.
If I want to get out of the way, that is not that's
so
not going to guarantee certain behaviors.
So you think you're going to sit there and first of all evaluate whether or not you want to get out of the way?
No, that's not the point that I made.
Yeah, so
The point I made is that if I want to get out of the way, that doesn't imply doesn't have a causal disposition for me getting out of the way.
Can I ask Danny a question?
Yeah.
Do beliefs inform actions?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But that doesn't. But you're not tracking what. That's not what I'm disputing. I'm saying they don't have causal disposition.
I didn't say that you were disputing that. I was just asking a question.
Yeah, no, I think that we rationalize, that's for sure. But the point is that, like,
do you think that people who hold to incoherent or just outright false beliefs may engage in actions that can lead to either short-term or long-term harm to the greater of society?
If you're asking me whether it's possible, sure, but it's not going to have a causal disposition towards.
So, my question is: if the probability of harm to society is increased due to people holding to false beliefs and forming actions that should be taken, would you see that as a net negative?
Yeah.
Okay, so what?
I'm saying they don't have a causal disposition.
What creation does, which is fine. I mean, I'm not going to say that believing in something inherently 100% is always going to make you act in some negative way.
But that's not what I'm saying either. That's a straw man.
There's a lot of people out there that are young Earth creationists who are great people who do great things. Their belief in young Earth creationism doesn't really have much of an effect on how they're behaving in society. But the thing is that there are more instances of false or incoherent beliefs informing actions that tend to lead to net negatives than otherwise. And I would argue that in turn makes those beliefs on the average more dangerous than not.
Well, that's fine, but it's not going to be explained. The differences are not going to be explained by the belief.
What do you mean? You mean that if we removed that belief, those actions still wouldn't be taken?
No, something like beliefs? The idea is that let's say 90% of young Earth creationists abuse their children because of some kind of biblical text. Okay. I think number one, it's rational to like do something about that, and maybe even to complain that there's some kind of probability or even problem there. But to say that what explains why one younger creationist abuses their children, that's explained by their belief over why they abuse rather than not abuse, and I think that can't be justified by appealing to the belief because 10% of the population doesn't do that. With respect to that population,
you wouldn't see that it's just an exception to a general norm.
Well, I think it's like I said, it's fine to say there's a probability involved, but to say that the difference in behavior is explained by young Earth creationism beliefs is where I'm having the problem.
Yeah.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
So it's not like Okay, you get the 90% stuff. So you can't explain the difference in behavior, abuse versus non-abuse, in terms of young Earth creationism beliefs.
I don't know if
So, like I said, 90% of of young Earth creationism, young Earth creationists, let's say, abuse their children because they appeal to biblical texts to justify their actions. Okay. Now, I'm fine, number one, with people complaining about that. Number two, people saying there's a probability with respect to those beliefs and abuse. Okay. But where I have the problem is that in terms of what explains why one group abuses their children, the other one doesn't, within that young Earth creationism population, you're not going to be able to appeal to young Earth creationism beliefs.
So what you're saying is that anytime there's even one exception, that automatically means that the belief can't be used to justify, not justify is the wrong word, that the belief can't be used as an explanation for why this behavior is taking place?
Over the opposite behavior, yeah.
I don't see how that follows. I would consider that on the average, if you have some belief that informs people to engage in dangerous activities, I would expect that not everybody that holds that belief is necessarily going to engage in that activity. But I would also argue that on the average, it seems to be the case with such belief systems that people that adhere to them are informed by those beliefs to engage in actions that they shouldn't. The fact that that's only on the average, I don't think means that the belief does not dispose somebody to engage in those actions, and that thereby the belief can be considered, even if the degree is varying, to be harmful.
We might be agreeing. So let me just elaborate on that hypothetical I gave. 1,000 people, 1,000 young Earth creationists. Okay, 999 of them abuse their children, citing their young Earth creationism beliefs.
Wait, where the hell does Speed go?
I don't know.
He
999 young Earth creationists abuse their children, citing their young Earth creationism beliefs. But one young Earth creationist cites their beliefs in terms of why they treat their child well. Okay, they don't abuse their child. So then the question becomes, why is it that 999 abuse their children and one does not? And the problem is that we're not going to be able to appeal to anything to do with young Earth creationism.
Pascal, Wager, Eggers.
I mean, in a sense of like necessity, that the belief necessitates the action, I would agree. But I would also argue that if more people adhering to some belief engage in actions,
disconnecting, Leo, I can't hear you.
Yeah, turn your camera off.
Oh,
so that will help with the.
So I would say that I wouldn't agree that the belief, not that you were making this argument, but if anything,
can you hear me?
Can
Leo hear me?
Tab, but I don't think. Yeah, no, but nothing else is cutting out for me, so I don't know what the issue is.
Oh, that's strange.
Well, anyways, I wrote something on the side. If you want to take 5 seconds to look at it.
But the point is that there, even today, let's step out of the crazy hypothetical.
All right, then.
The idea is that there is a young Earth creationism movement, and I would agree that there could be maybe some amount of pain and suffering as a result of those beliefs. I'm not saying that those beliefs don't cause or can't cause such things, okay? But what I'm saying is that there's also a portion that are highly benefited from these beliefs, right? They're happier for it, or they learn from it, or whatever, right? And so I don't really have a claim about young Earth creationism itself having some kind of disposition towards certain unwanted behaviors like pain and suffering and what danger.
I wouldn't really classify this pain and suffering. I mean, what I would say is that anti-vaxxers generally live up, at least in their minds, a more happy life. They feel like they're doing the right thing, that they're well informed, but in all reality, their position is a harmful one because it generally leads to less people being vaccinated against easily preventable diseases, which in turn results in a greater amount of unnecessary deaths. Now, I'm not going to state that holding to anti-vax positions necessitates these actions being taken, but I would say that on the average, they tend to negative actions, and for that reason, they should be dispelled.
Perhaps we don't disagree. I'm like, if it were the case that all young Earth creationism was causing the same sorts of harm as like anti-vaxxer beliefs, right? Anti-vaccine beliefs. Then yeah, I would be right with you. But I'm just
really
not.
quickly, I do think that anti-vaxxers pose a greater threat to society than
Yeah, I didn't assume that too.
I would just wanted to say that.
The point is that I think young Earth creationism is largely benign. But even if it did, even if there was some kind of,
I can agree with that it is largely benign in the sense of like doing some sort of active harm. Because I want to make sure that, because I understand what you mean by harm, and I understand, I think you mean something different to me. Perhaps harm isn't necessarily the right word to use. I don't know what word I should use other than harm in more of a sense of not like causing some sort of violence or injury to somebody, but resulting in a society that is less informed and thereby is less
like a dissonant society or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, like you're right. I mean, it could cause tension. Like people, you know, I don't know, like the same animosity that we see on YouTube between the two. But I guess like where I grow the most motivation to go after, or not even go after, but like really push philosophical arguments against Christians is if I see the Christian in mental anguish, or if they're being harmed in some kind of way because of their beliefs, then I'm going to be motivated to show them why they should let go. Right. So let's just pretend it's there's like a homosexual who's struggling with their guilt and all, you know, really, you know, basically their life is miserable because they hold all these beliefs about homosexuality and the Bible and all that stuff. Then I would be motivated to like dismantle their beliefs because I care more about, but I don't care about their beliefs because they're false. I care about what it's doing to them and what it might do to others, right? So in the same way, if I see a Christian bullying another homosexual, then I will come out of the woodwork and really be aggressive, right? But if it's some random Christian who keeps their beliefs to themselves, treats everyone just the same, largely apolitical, you know, I don't really care about changing their beliefs.
I can agree with that, yeah.
Even though there might be a lot of wacky stuff in their mind, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe, and I don't want to be the kind of society that's so sensitive to those kinds of people, right? Like if someone like interrogated a Christian and got them to say that stuff that they would never say otherwise, like, yeah, I think homosexuality is a sin, right? And then as a result became largely offended and bullied as a result. You see, I'm against those people as well. It's like I said, I mean, it just comes down to if I perceive some kind of pain that from these sorts of beliefs, then I address those particular cases. But I don't like to like say, well, young Earth creationism as a whole should be dismantled, because there are people. I think there are people that are somewhat either mentally are mentally benefited from such things, or really progress their own lives because of such things, despite all the falsity.
Right. Okay. So if I could just say a couple of things on it, because I thought David's point there, which is, it's the denial of the sciences, which is entailed by those sets of beliefs, which is really the problem. And the question, of course, was, is it dangerous? And I think we can quite clearly see that it is dangerous. I mean, if by danger we mean, something like likely to be harmful or able to be harmful, right, which seems to me a prevalent definition of that word, then I don't see any reason why we shouldn't say it is dangerous.
Well, do you think a large tree branch is dangerous?
Should be expunged.
Do you think a large tree branch is dangerous?
I beg your pardon?
Do you think a large tree branch is dangerous?
Well, it depends, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
the idea is that false beliefs and true beliefs, for that matter, really depend on whether they're dangerous or not.
Yeah, but a large tree branch doesn't inherently, entail that the person believes that a lot of sciences are false. So I think it's a bad analogy.
No, look, I'm not going to dispute that they're false beliefs, right? I'm just saying I don't really care that they're false beliefs in terms
Sure,
like in
that's-
terms of its relation to danger.
Sure, that's what we're pointing out there. Is that
False
in order
beliefs-
to hold those false beliefs, you have to believe that true beliefs, i.e., scientifically true beliefs, are false, and that's a danger.
No, but you see, it could just be the true beliefs can lead to a lot more danger, right?
Scientifically true beliefs we're talking about.
Well, I mean, think about the atomic bombs, right? Weapons, right? I mean, that can lead to that could lead to the end of the world, quite literally, right? So the point is that I don't take true or false beliefs to be problematic in the sense that they're dangerous, right? It's just all contextualized for me.
Can I make a quick comment?
But let me just say one last thing then.
Go ahead.
About nuclear bombs, right? I don't think knowing how a nuclear bomb works, which is a scientific belief, right, is necessarily dangerous, right? It's, again, the action that is presumed from it. Whereas...
presumably that's a necessary condition.
Whereas if you hold that virtually all scientific beliefs are false, that is a problem. Okay.
I don't know what you mean by problem. Are you saying dangerous?
I'm saying it is able or likely to cause harm, yes.
No, look, I don't know are you saying there's a causal disposition?
I don't know. I'm saying it's able or likely to cause harm.
Well, the problem there is that every belief is can cause harm, right? Every belief can do that.
Sure.
Okay. So now to the claim that it's likely, that's going to be contextualized, right? We could be in a society where young creationism is likely to be harmful,
right?
Or likely to be dangerous.
I think it is. We are in that society, yes.
But we could also be in a society where it's not.
Why are we in that society? Because it necessarily entails holding false beliefs about science.
No, it's a poor argument.
Danny. So I'm going to step away for just a second, but I wanted to ask you, are you stating that ultimately the harm that a belief can potentially do isn't related to whether it's true or false, but how it's utilized?
Yeah, it's context.
I do agree with that, but I would state that there are certain beliefs that tend to be utilized in ways that are harmful over others, and that those have a greater, what's the word I'm looking for here? How do I want to word this? That those should be regarded as doing more harm or being more dangerous, even if in the potential sense, than other beliefs that don't seem to be utilized to do harm.
Do you have to go? Because I wanted to say something to that.
No, No, I've just got to step away for like 30 seconds, but you can go ahead.
Okay, okay. Well, the way to understand what I was saying is think of books like Mein Kampf, okay? In certain societies, Mein Kampf can cause lots of harm. In fact, it did in the early 1900s, right? A lot of people read the book, were persuaded by it, and it caused harm, right? But today, if I distributed copies of Mein Kampf all over the United States, arguably, or just think of some other. I know people have various political views about how the state of the United States is, but take some country like that's and not fascist at all or anything like that. If I distributed copies of Mein Kampf, it's just not going to have that kind of causal disposition.
So why would that be, Danny? Why would it, in this different context, would people behave differently when they read Mein Kampf?
Well, it's just going to be a myriad of reasons.
It's going to be what?
A myriad of reasons and explanations.
Right. Okay. So, do you understand that beliefs are like a network? They're like interconnected.
Well, but there's always the potential to fail.
I don't care about that. But beliefs are interconnected. So some beliefs are like almost guiding beliefs. Like belief in the Bible would open up and guide a whole lot of other beliefs, right?
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily. And we're not talking about necessary. We're talking about how beliefs are intermeshed. So every person has their own unique network of beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that is the context that you're talking about, and that's why the one Christian won't beat his kid, or the one creationist, and then 99 others will, right?
It's not so. It's also their environment, right?
Everything is interconnected. So when you have a belief, you have a disposition. That's something that's a network in your brain, and when you come into a certain environment, okay, that belief will basically interact with that environment and result in an action, or not.
Or not, right? I mean, the point is that there's no.
So we have certain beliefs that are going to result in action. Like if I were to believe that anybody named Danny should be booted from streams, and I believe this very strongly, and that belief was interconnected to a number of other beliefs, obviously. But that one belief was how I choose to act. You wouldn't be in this stream, would you?
No, that not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I don't think you'd be in the stream.
Well, you could fail.
I mean, if I really,
or you could have competing desires.
I could have a heart attack as I reached for as I tried to boot you, but
sure.
Overall, more than not, you're not going to be in the stream.
The point is that we can attribute a likelihood. I'm saying I'm fine with that, but the point is that
causality. If there's a likelihood, then there's some causal
that doesn't follow.
There is there's not a definite necessary causation, but there is definitely a probabilistic causation.
I don't know about that.
Well, let me just go with this one, which was the Mein Kampf idea you were bringing up. I thought that's quite interesting. So if you're in the distribute Mein Kampf amongst people who reject scientific ideas, right, or scientific beliefs, if you like, or the majority of science, let's just say all of science to start with, actually, and there are incorrect scientific facts in Mein Kampf, then they are more likely to believe that Mein Kampf is true, right?
Oh, like if Mein Kampf had like flat Earth stuff and your own creationist science.
Well, or stuff about race, which was incorrect, for instance.
Well, it's hard to say whether I don't really have a probability assessment of that. Maybe you do.
Yeah, I would say that if people reject scientific facts and there are incorrect scientific facts in Mein Kampf, then they're more likely to accept them than somebody who believes in scientific facts.
You're going to have to give me an argument for that.
Which are rejected by Mein Kampf, you know?
Yeah, but you're going to have to give me an argument for that.
Really, Danny?
Right. I just think that that's on its face more likely to be the case because the scientific facts that Mein Kampf purports to make, all right, would be rejected by the scientific facts that the person believes in.
Are you saying that if I rewrote Mein Kampf with a lot of, all the right wing science denialist propaganda stuff?
You don't have to rewrite it. I mean, it has incorrect scientific facts in it. Would you agree?
Right. Okay, but it also has all the Nazism stuff in it, presumably, right?
Sure. But that's
right. So if I distributed it to all the younger creationists, I think they're just as likely to reject it.
Well, they may reject it on those grounds, but they wouldn't reject it on the scientific facts. Whereas,
but that becomes a triviality.
No. I'm just saying because it's not based upon ideology. It's based upon the belief of induction.
Well, the point is, you're just saying something like if you put something in
I'm not saying put it in there. No.
Sorry, what?
I'm not saying to put something in there. I'm saying there are incorrect scientific facts in that book.
Oh, I didn't know they were.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Oh, with all the race stuff, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I distributed that to some race realist, they're more like, they're going to accept maybe some of the scientific claims. But what is that supposed to show?
Well, it shows that somebody who does not accept those scientific claims would reject those ideas.
Okay, I'm not really that seems like some kind of triviality for me.
Yeah, but it's the triviality which points out that if you believe scientific facts, right, then you're less likely to accept Mein Kampf.
You haven't provided an argument for that, though.
I think we just went through it.
You went through your claim. You're just claiming that if Mein Kampf has all these problematic scientific claims, that if you give it to someone that would accept those scientific claims because they have beliefs that those sort of scientific claims are true.
That's not what I'm saying. No,
then I misunderstood.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Okay, so I'm basically saying, right, if somebody has a rejection of scientific claims and they read a book which has incorrect claims in it, okay, then they might accept those incorrect claims. Right? If somebody has a belief in science,
they can or are likely to.
I think they're likely to be honest, because they don't.
What's the argument?
They don't have any way to judge, right, the validity of those scientific claims because they've rejected the science.
Yeah, I don't think that follows.
Really?
Speed.
They don't have any way.
Go ahead.
That seems like a
Speed.
I don't know what to say to you if you think that people that deny
Yeah,
science.
Danny.
Just give me an argument.
And
Danny, you're being uncharitable. You
Speedometer. Speedometer. Speed. Speed. Speed.
He must not. He's AFK. Fucking old decrepit. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm just saying that people who do have the scientific claim or accept the scientific claim will read that book if it has scientific falsities within it, which I believe it does.
I think it's just too contextual to what sort of scientific claims are being made and which ones to deny.
Well,
like as someone that rejects climate change is probably going.
It is a hypothetical, I grant you.
Right, but that's even the problem with the hypothetical is that from the information given alone, you're not licensed to that likelihood.
I think I am, yeah.
Well, you're inserting more things into the hypothetical to be licensed in, and that's what I'm interested in.
Not really, I don't think.
Well, your argument was that they don't have any way to measure the validity or falsity of the scientific claims, but that doesn't. I don't see why I should accept that.
Well, you should accept that because we're saying that the premise is that people who do have the scientific argument or believe that the correct scientific argument will not accept it. All right, it's not that the person who doesn't have it won't accept it. All right, that's
I'm still not. I'm not seeing how that relates to
necessary condition.
A means of understanding truth or falsity with respect to scientific claims in the book.
I beg your pardon?
I'm not seeing how that connects to the claim that they don't have a means of understanding validity with respect to, or truth or falsity with respect to scientific claims.
Again, you're misunderstanding the argument. It's that the person who does understand the scientific claim to be false will not accept those scientific claims.
But you don't think that's trivial?
Likely not to accept the book. If you do not have the scientific understanding, then you have no way to judge that those.
How does that follow?
Then you have no way to judge those scientific facts as being true or false.
What means are you talking about?
You may accept them, or you may
like you're talking about Wikipedia or something. I don't understand.
You may accept them, or you may not accept them. That is a possibility, but you will not reject them, which is the point.
Can someone else explain what he's trying to say to me?
I think it's simple enough, Danny.
Oh, then tell me.
It's the other side. You're accepting it from the person who is the science denialist, and I'm pointing out to you, if you have the scientific knowledge, you will reject the ideas.
But that's trivial.
It's not trivial when it comes to you.
You're saying that if someone has knowledge, they're going to reject the falsity of whatever proposition.
And how does that relate to the young Earth creationists? How do you think that relates? And David,
I don't really understand the point of the hypothetical.
Okay, you used it as an example, did you not?
I didn't use that hypothetical.
You used Mein Kampf as an example, right?
Right. I said that if you distribute Mein Kampf in the kind of society, and like let's say in Germany in 1936 or whatever, it probably would have. We could talk about probabilities in terms of harm, right?
That's history. We don't need to talk about probably.
Yeah, okay. But then if I distribute it in Sweden or Norway today, I could say that the probability is very low. In fact, unimaginable that it would bring about lots, near as much harm as it would have back then in Germany. So the point is that Mein Kampf, the text itself, is not going to really have the causal disposition for harm, just like beliefs.
Yeah, okay. And I'm saying one of the pills you can swallow to make sure that doesn't happen, of course, is to have good scientific understanding by the people that read it, because there are scientific claims in there which are false.
But okay, you're saying so the scientific claims, they're false, but someone could still become a Nazi, right, as a result of reading it because of some other reason.
Sure.
So that's you're not taking. And so just knowing that they would reject the scientific claims made in Mein Kampf, I don't think it's. I have to know a lot more about whether they're likely to become a Nazi or not.
Sure. If you think you need to know a lot more, then I don't think it's a very good example when we're talking about science denial, because that science denial was the topic, right, which people are saying is dangerous.
Well, what I'm trying to say is science denial can't look. This is a tautology, but it seems like no one's accepting this, but you know, maybe I'll form it not in a tautological way, but it just depends on whether science denialism has a propensity, you know, has a probability of causing harm or not. And in this society,
that's what the original question was.
What was the original question?
That was what the original question was. Is creationist beliefs dangerous? Are creationist beliefs dangerous?
I'm fine with saying, I said from the very beginning, you probably weren't here, that it's fine to give a probability that there's, let's say, I think there's a strong.
What do you think dangerous means?
What does that mean?
Yeah, what does dangerous mean to you?
Dangerous, we talked about like some kind of harm or pain being done to someone.
Right, okay. Well, that's what harm and pain is. I don't think that's what dangerous is. Dangerous seems to me to be likely to cause harm or able to.
Okay, sure. Then the point is that with respect to young Earth creationism, I'm just kind of a particularist about whether I should dismantle false beliefs in that category of thought. Right?
They deny science.
But it doesn't matter that they deny science, right? In terms of harm, that you're going to need something more than just that.
Just a quick reminder that everybody should go to my channel and click set reminder on the video that I have airing tomorrow at 7 p.m. CRT.
We can't hear you when you do that.
What the fuck was that, Leo? Like, I get the topic is getting fucking boring because Danny's not understanding it, but Jesus.
That's right. And he understands. We come to this conclusion that he understands that there is a likelihood entailed by that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there will be harm. And I would agree with that.
Yeah, but or a cause, right? Likelihood or probability.
It's a very difficult word to use.
Right. And which I'm fine with people saying here, look, if you're a Christian, you're likely to reject homosexuality, or you're likely to be a pro-life, or that's fine. But I'm going against the claim.
That's what we're saying is dangerous.
Are you pro-life, Danny?
Wait, but that I don't think it follows that therefore Christianity is like dangerous or.
Well, we were talking about creationism, and through the rejection of just about every science you can imagine.
Look, oh, that's Leo. I'm saying that. Do you think that if atheism and like let's say atheists had a strong, they don't, right? There's a strong correlation between atheism and pedophilia for whatever reason. And I say, well, if you're an atheist, you know, there's some likelihood of being a pedophile. It's not going to follow. Therefore, atheism is dangerous in that way. It's just not going to follow.
I would disagree. Obviously, if there is shown to be a strong propensity for atheists to be pedophiles, then being an atheist makes you likely to be a pedophile. And that's dangerous, right? We can agree pedophilia is dangerous.
No, something else must explain it. It's not
It's
atheism.
not atheism, then your argument falls apart.
No, look, like I said, you can give probability values without talking about causes.
Yes, obviously, but we're talking scientific here, aren't we?
Yeah, no, we're not even doing that. We're talking.
Okay.
We're not talking. I'm not making a scientific claim. Is that what you mean?
Well, I think the idea was, as David first stated, that young Earth creationists, right, must deny science because science conflicts with.
I'm fine with that.
Ideas of young creation. So we are talking about science.
No, we're talking about people that well, not. It doesn't matter what we talk about with respect to belief systems. We're talking about whether a belief system can have a causal disposition towards harm or danger.
If you deny science,
able or likely to cause harm, right?
Well, and you're making the claim that if there's a probability with respect to some belief system and some kind of harm, that it follows that the belief system explains the harm. It just doesn't follow. I don't know what you mean by probability at that point.
I'm not saying that. We're saying
okay, then we agree.
We were saying it's the science denial which causes the harm.
That's a belief system.
Oh, right. Science is a belief system. Isn't it?
Science denialism is a belief system.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure I completely agree that science denialism, if that
they're rejecting it. It's not just ignorance.
Rejection of the scientific method doesn't sound to me like a belief system as such.
You don't think that if I reject God, that implies a belief that God does not exist?
No, No, not necessarily.
Well, then I don't know what you mean by reject.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, you could be agnostic to the existence of God.
That's not exactly a rejection. You're just saying something like.
That's what I just said. It doesn't necessarily imply a rejection.
I don't know what you mean by rejection anymore.
Okay, I don't know what you mean by rejection.
It means like take to be false.
Right. I don't necessarily think that's the case. No.
Okay, so what do you mean by it, if not that?
What I mean by rejection, right, means failure to use, if you like.
Failure to what?
Failure to use the scientific method.
That's not what reject. I can reject that, I'm talking to a human being. That's not.
Failure to.
Danny, let's keep it in the context of young Earth creationists. Let's keep it in that context.
I don't think you're following the conversation well.
I am. They reject the scientific method.
I've already granted that.
That is dangerous.
Yeah, it doesn't follow. It doesn't follow.
It does follow. It does.
Nathan, just kind of
the scientific method is a fundamental part of reality. If you deny reality, therefore you're dangerous. That's it. Simple and plain.
It doesn't follow.
Right. And if you decide, well, it depends what you're defining dangerous as, but if you define it by the dictionary, of course, then you're going to use something like, well, let's have a look here. Yeah. Able or likely to cause harm or injury. I think that's fairly clear.
Well, sorry, what?
It says able or likely to cause harm or injury.
Danger? Oh yeah, I'm not disputing that. I thought we agreed on that.
Or likely to cause problems or to have adverse consequences.
Right, but I'm telling you that it's okay. I'm fine with saying there's a probability. Like
explanations, Danny, we're not talking about an explanation. We're just saying that it follows that that is likely to be the case, right?
Yeah, if you're saying something like Christianity is dangerous, and you're just saying something like,
no,
the denial of the scientific method is dangerous, and young Earth creationists deny the scientific method. Therefore, it's dangerous.
But if what you meant by that is something like there's a probability of people that reject science and harm or danger, then I'm not going to dispute that. What I'm disputing I'm just disputing the idea that the dangers explained by whatever belief system we're talking about, whether that be scientific.
Sure, I understand that now, and that was never in the original question, so I don't know why.
Well, that. I think that other people that were saying stuff like, who muted me? Oh, now who's sharing the screen?
I have no idea what we're looking at right now. Just get really quiet.
What is even going on in the stream anymore?
I don't know.
Speed is.
We can listen to discussion on Discord if you guys want.
I don't mind. I think we've reached the point of agreement, so I think we're fine.
Alrighty, well, I'm going to hop over to this rather interesting discussion on Discord. Let me just mute
what this can you post? Can you post the link to the Discord
or? I can't because it's not on my computer. It's on my phone.
I hear Pogan.
Yeah, Pogan and Eddie Van Halen going at it about
Tom Ravis.
No,
No.
it's Canadian
Philosophical
Catholics.
checkmate.
No. Is it
Philosophical-
Tom Rabbit's channel?
No,
Discord?
it's Canadian
No,
Catholics.
it's in Discord. It's actually in Discord. It's on Philosophical Checkmate.
Okay, never mind.
But
I'm gonna
no,
head over
Tom
there.
is not streaming it, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, no, Tom is not streaming it. Everybody should click on the link that I provided where it says set reminder before that. Just you might not even have to scroll up to see it. If you like science, even if you don't like science, you should still set reminder and watch it because you'll learn something. Learning something is always good. And with that, I think it's about time I hit the old dusty trail.
It's time I hit it too. So did you hear any of that stuff I said about Danny and the claim about atheism?
What was the claim?
You said there's a strong correlation between atheism and pedophilia. And
no, I was pretending. I literally prefaced that with "This is not true," but imagine a world in which there's that correlation.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to say atheism is dangerous because the correlation. When we say, "Oh, if you're an atheist, you're probably a pedophile," in that world, it doesn't follow. Therefore, atheism is pedophilic or tends toward pedophilia.
Yeah, I would prefer to hash out the whether creationism is bad for you analytically rather than by statistics about how they behave, because there's a whole variable spectrum of types of people that claim to be creationists, and I'm sure that the child abuse is not statistically high across that group, or any higher across that group than any other group. So I wouldn't go with statistics. I'd go with just trying to reason it out. Why a belief that denied 90% of science could be problematic in today's society. I think that's
in today's society. I mean, I think I would agree that like stuff like anti-vaccine and all that stuff, I would agree with Leo that, if there's someone that would like challenge those sorts of people and ridicule those beliefs, and I think that would be good. But I don't see young Earth creationism in the same way.
Yeah, I am pretty adamantly opposed to any kind of belief system or God-based belief system. I'm definitely an anti-theist, and it's based pretty much on neuroscience and what I envision for what would be a hopeful future for humanity. And I see them as being problematic to achieving that, and that's mostly what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really wish I could easily convince you out of that. But I don't. It's kind of paradoxical because it could be.
Well, Danny, you're one of them.
I'm one of what?
You're one of those people that deny neuroscience because you're a dualist, and
I don't. What do I deny about neuroscience?
You're one of the people that would deny basically many aspects about how the brain works.
Give me any empirical claim that the neuroscientists give and in their papers, right? That I'm going to just flat out reject.
Oh, let's see. What was your thing about desires? Basically, the desires are of the mind, but not of the brain, right?
No, what I'm trying to say is that I'm not going to dispute. I might dispute their rationalizations and their reasoning, but I'm not going to dispute any empirical claim.
No, you're not going to dispute an empirical claim, but you're going to dispute where we go with that, where we can go with it.
Right.
Basically, if you learn, if you have some empirical knowledge of the brain, it is possible to change the mind.
I'm not going to dispute that.
Okay.
So I don't see how neuroscience even relates, because I can just grant every study, every empirical claim they give, and my argument still goes through.
Yeah, your argument is based on folk psychology.
It's true. I'm not going to give up on folk psychology, but
we're going to.
But look. Do you understand what I said? That it's not. I'm not rejecting any of the neuroscience, like any of their empirical claims.
Empirical claims, like, could you flesh that out a little bit? What would be an example of
anything that they've measured, seen, quantified? I don't know, the actual experiment stuff and the data. That stuff I'm not going to dispute.
So, okay. which is pretty dry stuff. I mean, that's a pretty dry surface level look at it. I mean, there's import behind neuroscience. For instance, if you learn something about your temporal lobes and how you deal with daily information, you can learn how to learn. You can actually modify how you teach children. One of the things that has become obvious is that children need naps in the middle of the school day. And that ain't going to happen with religious people in charge because they don't believe there's a fucking connection between the temporal lobes.
But that's compatible with dualism.
Yeah, probably is, but I don't know in what way. In what way?
Well, it could be that what explains why you need naps is some dispositional property, like in the brain.
What is the substance of the mind?
I'm not a substance dualist.
Okay, so how does that work? So what is the mind in relationship?
What is the mind? A point of view, I suppose.
Okay, what is it in relationship to the brain?
Oh, like how do they interact specifically?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, I guess it's sort of a medium in which the mind can perceive things.
Okay, so it's perception. So you think the brain is...
Yeah, I bet the brain has something to do, absolutely something to do with the way that the mind sees the world.
Okay.
Also, like reflexes and a lot of what they call involuntary processes, like and there are probably a lot of things that happen that one might think is conscious, but are not actually. It's not actually conscious that the brain does. So, for instance, like playing the piano, that might require a lot of brain stuff, right? But it's also very, very mental, you know, like muscle memory. That can think of that kind of stuff, right? I don't really think that. I mean, that could potentially be all explained in neuroscientific terms.
Are desires encoded in the brain?
No, I don't think that makes sense on my view.
Okay, that's that. So to change your desires, basically, you don't accept that neuroscience would come into play in how to change your desires.
No, I don't. I'm not even disputing that claim.
Okay, you're a pseudoscientist, and you are part of the problem, Danny. But
what did I reject scientifically? Like, what empirical claim did I reject?
No,
you didn't reject it.
Let me clear this bit up. Let me clear this bit up, Speak. Danny just said, no, he does not regret. He does not reject that changing the brain state may change desires.
Okay, did you say that, Danny?
Yeah.
Okay, so then how are desires not encoded in the brain?
Well, it just doesn't follow that if I could change your desire, that like whatever is the cause of that is the effect.
Okay, so you're saying that brain states are the cause of your desires?
Some of them, perhaps.
Not all of them.
I mean, it just kind of depends.
Okay, it depends on what?
I don't know. It's not. There are no laws of it.
So you could have identical brain states, but have two different desires.
Yeah, in principle, yeah.
In principle.
But you don't know.
No, it could happen. So, like, you and I could have the same brain state, but two different desires.
So you're saying it could be the case that all desires are influenced by brain states. It could be the case.
I think
I think so. I think that would be some kind of contingent. Yeah, that might work.
That's why I like talking to you.
I think you denied that earlier. You said that desires were not encoded in the brain.
But that doesn't. What he said wasn't that question. The question there doesn't look. If it follows that you always have some brain state, with respect to what you say your desire is, it won't follow therefore the desire is encoded in the brain.
So your desire could modify that encoding.
Well, there's backwards and forwards interaction there.
Okay. So I still don't know where dualism gets you, or what would be different between a dualistic view of desires encoded in the brain and a non-dualistic view.
I think a non-dualistic view eliminates desire completely.
Eliminates desire completely, but yet we have desires.
Well, yeah, and that's why I'm a dualist, right?
You just said that some desires are as a result of brain states.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that there could be an interaction there.
There-
No. Some desires are a result of brain states.
Perhaps, yeah.
Perhaps. Okay, that's pretty weak. I mean, I think you got to pick a position here. You kind of dance.
What are you asking me? You're just asking me. You're asking me about possibility, right?
No, I'm
Which is a
asking
very-
you. I'm
okay.
asking you about isness. What is?
What? Okay, so repeat the question then.
Okay, are desires encoded in brain states? Basically, is the brain responsible for your desires? Not
Okay. When you said encoded, that means something very different to me than cause effect, right?
Okay.
Well, if you're saying that we can identify or that our mental state picks out something in the brain, that's what I want to reject. But if you're just asking me whether there's an interaction between my brain state and my desire, sure, I can surely grant that.
Okay, your brain state picks out something. Hang on a second. Okay, your desire picks out something in the brain. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I want to deny.
You want to deny that your desire picks out something in the brain. What does that mean?
So, like, I'm thinking, I have a concept of you that picks out the thing that is you, right? So the idea is that there's kind of this mental state, this desire I have, and it picks out something, just like my concept of you picks out something. And what I want to say is that, like, my concept of you doesn't pick out the thing that is midnight, right? It picks out speed, the thing that is speed, right? So when I have desires and all these mental states, I'm saying that whatever is being picked out is not going to be brain stuff or any material thing or physical thing.
Okay, so if Danny is a physical being who has a desire, say capital A, that desire, you have that desire, okay, and then I make an exact physical copy just at that moment of Danny, and now we have another copy of you. Do you believe that at that moment that the second Danny can have a desire B instead of A?
Right. So yeah, I like this is a good question. This is basically one of the first arguments for dualism. The idea is that I could have a desire and my body be in a certain state, and then that in another case, I could have the exact same physical state, like bodily state, and no desire.
Okay.
So I think that's possible.
Yep. You're one of them. Definitely, you're one of them. So
one of what?
The bad people, the people that I'm anti. So
well, I don't know what.
Yeah, it's difficult to say, but I mean, could you just give me a definition of causation from your perspective, Danny?
I'm not going to have a good, robust account for you.
Yeah. Okay. So you would go with the scientific definition, or not?
I don't even know what the scientific definition of cause is.
Okay. Well, it's to do with I don't know.
I think it kind of presupposes. I mean, like if there's a quote unquote scientific definition of the cause, they got it from philosophy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, or natural. Yeah. Anyway, natural. What do they call it? Natural philosophy. Yeah.
Natural philosophy.
Yeah, I think that's what they used to call it, isn't they?
That's just like I think that was another name for biology before modern biology.
No, I don't think so.
No, natural philosophy was what we call science, Danny.
Well, again,
no, I thought natural philosophy. Okay, I thought that was like because they didn't have the word biology until in the last 150 years, right? And I thought that all of what some might call biology today was subsumed in natural philosophy.
Yeah, that's what they called it.
Speed, I'm going to steal your shtick and say I want to kill myself.
Anyway, Danny,
not having a definition of causation seems problematic here. But
not having?
Well, not having a rough definition, at least.
I don't think that's a problem.
Right. I think in the scientific method, it is presumed, right?
Well, there's do you have a definition for like time and space and personal identity? And I mean, like if you ask a 5-year-old, do you know what a cause is or what knowledge is? You think they have to know those things, like to be able to express how they conceptualize those things, like to actually know them?
Oh, you're channeling Ellen Watts here. Guys, I would have bow out for the evening. I'll just leave you guys chat, and I'll keep an eye on in case anybody needs me to do something, okay?
Yeah, I'm pretty much finished.
Bye, Speed.
Let me just go. Thanks, Speed.
Goodbye.
Yeah, no, I think there is some kind of rough, usage that we mean when we say causation in science, right?
Well, I guess like I try to understand it in terms of counterfactuals.
I think it might be. Anyway,
but I think they're look the notion of a cause is kind of a haunting notion. It's not simple at all. Like to break down the meaning because, well, Kant was kind of onto something that I don't think it's given to us conceptually. But I could be wrong about that. I'm open, right? Like Kant thought that things like time and space and causality and all of that stuff, even mathematical truths, weren't conceptual. So to understand it analytically wasn't something that you could do, like analytically, meaning like a meaning. So it was just kind of given to you, like, and I'm fine with saying that Kant is washed up on that. I would like to hear,
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I don't think Kant's right about a lot of things, or some things, but I think he's right about a lot of things because he's obviously a really fucking smart guy, or was. But no, I mean, I think when we say cause and effect, I think the definitions are going to end up to be circular. So I would agree with him on that point, or definitional. Right? We're going to have to come up with something and say it's to do with the uniformity of nature and how we can empirically prove that, right? And that's going to be what we're going to rely on as the meaning. And I don't think
I don't really take that, but
not a philosophically rigid or rigorous definition. So,
well, especially for like a dualist like me, I want to say their cause is outside of like laws of nature.
Sure. I think that's kind of begging the question against dualism if you say that. And maybe, as I say, that I'm going to be begging the question of causation, and maybe you can't use the word without begging the question, because as I said, first of all, it's likely to have some kind of circular definition at the bottom, right? And I think it is a presupposition, or is a priori knowledge, right, which is going to be definitional. So,
well, yeah, that's the thing. That's where Kant comes in. He thought it was a priori, but he didn't think it was definitional or conceptual. So it's kind. I don't know what account to accept there. But the point is, like, same with like I ask a lot of naturalists about what they mean by physical or natural, and they don't have a good, robust definition at the time because they just haven't thought about it. But the thing is that we agree that the sort of, that oxygen is like natural or physical, so we can kind of operate from that.
That's again, if you want to push everything, then we're going to just say that it's definitional. We define oxygen as being material, therefore it's natural in that respect. It's material.
Well, I don't think, is it that they define these molecules as natural, or is it that is it something else?
Well, I think there's at bottom again. We're going to be talking about presuppositions, aren't we? We're going to be.
I don't really think it's a matter of presuppositions. I think there are perceptual things going on, like, oh, well, this ball follows, certain sorts of patterns, and that's what I consider to be physical, and that's kind of what I've done, right? That, that I've understood a physical thing in terms of the regularity of nature. But then there are people that, think about what is a regularity of nature? How is that understood? And they get into some kind of skepticism about laws of nature, and I don't know, it just gets, it's like not easy. But the point is that we still somehow in the end agree that that water molecule is a physical thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's but only because we define these certain aspects of reality first, and then by that we construct a method by which we start these empirical measurements, and we define that as physical, right? Not even that, right? It's the effect necessarily, right? So, and again, that presupposes cause, because we're saying that there's an effect, right? Like virtual particles, right? We say that they're, in my view, they would be physical, even though they're not. We're not able to detect them directly.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I gotta go, Simus. But it was a good conversation. Thanks.
Yeah, mate. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
What can I say? Have fun, everybody. Thanks very much. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. And if there is anybody there, thank you.
Oh shit, dead air. Sorry, guys. Anyway, I was just watching little news. Texas has gone blue, but not in the way they wanted. Anyway, good night, everybody. Goodbye, cruel world.